Tzu is an ancient Chinese military treatise that has been used as a guide to strategy and tactics for over 2,000 years. Despite being written for military purposes, it has become popular in fields such as business, sports, and politics due to its timeless wisdom and practicality. The book consists of 13 chapters that cover various aspects of warfare, including strategy, tactics, and leadership. The principles outlined in The Art of War are still relevant today and can be applied in various situations where strategy and planning are necessary. In this book, we will provide a summary of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, highlighting the key ideas and concepts presented in each chapter. We will also provide real-life examples of how these principles have been applied in various fields and offer insights on how they can be used in today's world. Chapter 1. Introduction to the Art of War. The first chapter of The Art of War provides an overview of the book, outlining its purpose and structure. Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of knowing oneself and one's enemy and how this knowledge can be used to gain an advantage in battle. He also stresses the importance of strategy and planning and how these elements can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Sun Tzu argues that the ultimate goal of war is to achieve victory with as little bloodshed as possible. He believes that the best way to achieve this is through the use of strategy and tactics, rather than brute force. Sun Tzu also believes that a good leader must lead by example, and that the loyalty of the troops is essential for success. Chapter 2. The importance of strategy in warfare. In Chapter 2, Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of strategy in warfare. He argues that a good strategy can mean the difference between victory and defeat, and that it is essential to have a clear and well-defined plan before entering into battle. Sun Tzu also stresses the importance of flexibility in strategy. He argues that a good leader must be able to adapt to changing circumstances and make adjustments to the plan as necessary. He also emphasizes the importance of deception and surprise in strategy and how these elements can be used to gain an advantage over the enemy. Chapter 3. The 5 Factors of Strategy. Chapter 3 introduces the 5 factors of strategy, which include the way, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline. Sun Tzu argues that these factors are essential to consider when developing a strategy and that they must be balanced in order to achieve success. The way refers to the moral and ethical values of the leader and the troops and the shared beliefs and values that unite them. Heaven refers to the weather and other natural factors that can impact the outcome of the battle. Earth refers to the terrain and other environmental factors that must be considered when developing a strategy. The commander refers to the leader and his or her ability to make wise decisions and lead the troops effectively. Method and discipline refer to the organization and training of the troops and the implementation. Chapter 4. The 9 Varieties of Ground. In Chapter 4, Sun Tzu discusses the 9 varieties of ground, which include dispersive, facile, contentious, open, intersecting, serious, difficult, hemmed in, and desperate. He argues that the commander must consider these different types of terrain when developing a strategy and must adapt the plan accordingly. For example, dispersive ground is characterized by a large area with no strategic value, and Sun Tzu advises avoiding this type of ground as it can be difficult to defend. On the other hand, hemmed-in ground is characterized by a narrow area with no room for maneuvering, and he advises that this type of ground can be used to trap the enemy and cut off their escape routes. Sun Tzu also emphasizes the importance of understanding the enemy's strengths and weaknesses and using this knowledge to choose the right type of ground for the battle. Chapter 5. The importance of knowing your enemy. In Chapter 5, Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of knowing your enemy. He argues that a commander who understands the enemy's strengths and weaknesses can use this knowledge to gain an advantage in battle. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must observe the enemy's behavior and tactics and look for patterns and weaknesses. He also stresses the importance of intelligence gathering and the use of spies, which can provide valuable information about the enemy's plans and movements. Sun Tzu also warns against underestimating the enemy, as this can lead to overconfidence and ultimately defeat. Chapter 6. The Use of Spies. In Chapter 6, Sun Tzu discusses the use of spies. He argues that spies can provide valuable information about the enemy's plans and movements and can be used to sow discord and confusion among the enemy's ranks. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must carefully choose the spies and ensure their loyalty. He also stresses the importance of using deception and misdirection to protect the spies and conceal their true purpose. Sun Tzu warns against relying too heavily on spies, however, as they can be unreliable and may provide false information. He also emphasizes the importance of discretion and secrecy in the use of spies. Chapter 7. The Art of Deception. In Chapter 7, Sun Tzu discusses the art of deception. He argues that deception can be used to confuse and mislead the enemy and can be a powerful tool in warfare. Sun Tzu advises that deception must be carefully planned and executed, and that it must be consistent with the overall strategy. He also stresses the importance of using the enemy's weaknesses and vulnerabilities to create illusions and false impressions. Sun Tzu warns against over-reliance on deception, however, as it can be difficult to maintain and may ultimately be discovered by the enemy. Chapter 8. The Use of Force. In Chapter 8, Sun Tzu discusses the use of force. He argues that force should be used as a last resort and only when all other options have been exhausted. Sun Tzu advises that force must be used decisively and with overwhelming power in order to achieve a quick and decisive victory. He also stresses the importance of choosing the right time and place to use force and of carefully considering the risks and consequences of doing so. Sun Tzu warns against using force indiscriminately, as this can lead to unnecessary casualties and can ultimately undermine the commander's authority. Chapter 9. The Proper Use of Troops. In Chapter 9, Sun Tzu discusses the proper use of troops. He argues that a good commander must understand the strengths and weaknesses of his or her troops and must use them accordingly. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must motivate and inspire the troops and must lead by example. He also stresses the importance of training and discipline, and the need to ensure that the troops are well prepared and well equipped for battle. Sun Tzu also emphasizes the importance of teamwork and coordination, and advises that the commander must carefully coordinate the movements and actions of the troops to achieve maximum effectiveness. Chapter 10. The Use of Terrain. In Chapter 10, Sun Tzu discusses the use of terrain in warfare. He argues that the commander must carefully choose the terrain for battle and must adapt the strategy accordingly. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must consider the advantages and disadvantages of the terrain and must use it to his or her advantage. For example, he advises that high ground is an advantage, as it provides a better view of the battlefield and makes it easier to defend. Sun Tzu also stresses the importance of adaptability and advises that the commander must be prepared to change the plan if the terrain or other factors change. Chapter 11. The Use of Fire Attacks. In Chapter 11, Sun Tzu discusses the use of fire attacks. He argues that fire can be a powerful weapon in warfare and can be used to demoralize and confuse the enemy. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must carefully plan and coordinate the use of fire attacks and must consider the wind direction and other factors that may affect the effectiveness of the attack. Sun Tzu also warns against using fire attacks indiscriminately, as they can cause unintended damage and may even backfire on the attacker. Chapter 12. The Importance of Flexibility. In Chapter 12, Sun Tzu emphasizes the importance of flexibility in warfare. He argues that a good commander must be able to adapt to changing circumstances and make adjustments to the plan as necessary. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must be prepared for unexpected events and must have a backup plan in case the original plan fails. He also stresses the importance of maintaining a calm and focused mindset, even in the face of adversity. Sun Tzu warns against rigidity and inflexibility, as these can lead to failure and defeat. Chapter 13. The Use of Weaknesses and Strengths. In Chapter 13, Sun Tzu discusses the use of weaknesses and strengths. He argues that a good commander must understand the weaknesses and strengths of both the enemy and his or her own troops, and must use this knowledge to gain an advantage in battle. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must carefully consider the situation and choose the best course of action based on the strengths and weaknesses of the troops and the terrain. He also stresses the importance of using surprise and deception to exploit the enemy's weaknesses. Chapter 14. The Use of Timing and Opportunity. In Chapter 14, Sun Tzu discusses the use of timing and opportunity. He argues that a good commander must be able to recognize and seize opportunities when they arise and must carefully choose the timing of his or her actions. Sun Tzu advises that the commander must be patient and wait for the right moment to strike. He also stresses the importance of using speed and agility to take advantage of opportunities before they disappear. Sun Tzu warns against impatience and haste, as these can lead to mistakes and missed opportunities. Chapter 15. Conclusion and Application of the Art of War. In the final chapter of The Art of War, Sun Tzu summarizes the key ideas and concepts presented in the book. He emphasizes the importance of strategy and planning and the need to understand oneself, one's troops, and the enemy. Sun Tzu also stresses the importance of flexibility and adaptability and the need to seize opportunities when they arise. He advises that the commander must be patient and calm and must lead by example. Finally, Sun Tzu emphasizes the practical application of the principles outlined in The Art of War and provides examples of how they can be applied in various situations. He argues that the principles of the art of war are not limited to military strategy, but can be applied to other areas such as business, politics, and sports. For example, in business, the principles of the art of war can be used to develop marketing strategies, negotiate deals, and manage teams. In politics, the principles can be used to develop foreign policy and negotiate treaties. In sports, the principles can be used to develop game plans and strategies for winning competitions. In conclusion, The Art of War by Sun Tzu is a timeless classic that provides valuable insights into strategy and leadership. The principles outlined in the book are still relevant today and can be applied in various situations where strategy and planning are necessary. The book is a must-read for anyone interested in the art of strategy and leadership.